Welcome to Paramerican Radio. As always, I am your host, Chad Kalick, hanging out with my good buddy, Justin Holstein.
Hey.
I did it again. You know, I had a series of things I was going to say, and they're just going to have to wait till the next round. Because there were some good ones this time.
I have one.
Yeah,
your Patrick to your SpongeBob.
My Patrick to my SpongeBob. I think it was something like...
I got you.
Yeah, it was... No, it was... one of them was, you're my... Creed to my Rocky. It was something pretty cool, but I'll remember it between now and the next time we get back on here. Also hanging with us, of course, you've already heard him chime in and break the law. He broke the rule of not speaking before you're introduced.
It's true, I did.
Hey, laws are meant to be broken. Tinder Steve Zilberman is in the house. And, Steve, I know you are you're the keeper of the portal to the rabbit hole.
Yes.
And this is your domain. I understand this. Yes. But there is something that I saw today that blew my fucking mind. And I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but within the last couple of days, I think it's called the Lawrence Livermore Institute, this guy had been working on it forever, and he got over 650 new films of what were secret, on top of the nuclear explosions that we knew we did. There was 650 more that were done, like, to us, like, in the atmosphere above America to see what happens. Like, crazy shit.
Were they not declassified? I thought that's what happened.
They were declassified 2 days ago, and... Yeah, like the footage of this stuff, I mean, they were doing it in the upper atmosphere, over deserts, over populated areas. It was all going on in the 50s, just to see what would happen. And it was crazy. It was crazy. But some of the footage of this, here's one.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Boom. That was like in the... Not too high up off the ground. They talked about that one specifically.
Is that why it didn't make a mushroom?
Yeah.
Wow.
You always hear these stories like, man, all it would take is one nuclear bomb to just fuck shit up. Dude, we've exploded thousands of nuclear bombs. We've exploded, which is amazing. In the upper atmosphere, lower atmosphere. Underground, in water, above water,
in water.
Oh yeah, we've done it to see. Have you seen the footage of those where they take all the old naval vessels and they put them out in the water, the decommissioned ones, to see what would happen, and they would explode and nuke underwater. Oh, it's mind blowing.
That's kind of fucked up, man. Doesn't that affect all the wildlife down there?
Oh fuck yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean it's.
Well, see, that's what's crazy to me about it is more than anything else. If you cross-reference, although these areas were generally unpopulated areas, obviously they're not going to explode in a city or anything, but it's the testing areas. But still, I would think. If you cross-reference the amount of cancer levels and stuff at that time period,
you would think. Yeah.
And it very well could be the case.
That's interesting. I guess if you put together the side by side the rise in cancer and in global warming and I think that this caused a lot more than we think, for sure.
Here's one in the water, Steve. Here's the ones in the water. I mean, insane the shit that they're doing.
Wow.
It's just fucking crazy that we were this...
Oh my god.
Just, why is this... this, to me, these are big dick tests. It's not necessary. What would happen if we blew it off underwater? Well, you'd have a shitload of water displacement and blow the shit out of everything, and and kill anything within the vicinity of it, and leave radioactive waste, I just don't understand how we let off thousands of these, and that's just our country. China went apeshit with them too. China was letting them off and ordering the Chinese army to run into the radioactive fallout. And they have footage of it. I've seen the footage. It's on YouTube of them sending their army into a nuclear blast to see what'll happen. You know, Bill Clinton apologized a while ago for this. MK Ultra and all these colleges were carrying out all this shit. Did you ever hear about?
No.
Oh, you don't know about this? Oh yeah, Clinton apologized for all these nuclear tests that were done.
Well, you said MK Ultra though.
And MK Ultra was an extension of what these tests were. I mean, MK Ultra wasn't just mind control. MK Ultra was carried out at sub levels too. Like 80 universities were a part of MK Ultra. They subcontracted them out, and people thought that they were basically, receiving different medications than they were, and they were given radioactive shit. Like, didn't you ever see the footage of Bill Clinton apologizing for it?
No.
What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Faden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. Informed consent means your doctor tells you the risk of the treatment you are about to undergo. In too many cases, informed consent was withheld. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment, and that was wrong. So today, on behalf of another generation of American leaders and another generation of American citizens, the United States of America offers a sincere apology to those of our citizens who were subjected to these experiments, to their families, and to their communities. When the government does wrong, we have a moral responsibility to admit it. The duty we owe to one another to tell the truth and to protect our fellow citizens from excesses like these is one we can never walk away from.
He's admitting it right here. The government has done this throughout time. Just use the population as their fucking guinea pig.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that there's this footage of him saying this, fully admitting it. Going, yeah, straight up, this went down. You were all guinea pigs, and sorry. We want to say we're sorry, I mean,
it's moments like that when you hear him speaking and you think about there had to be a rationale why he approached his subject, and it follows suit with a lot of the things he was doing in office at the time. And then you have this flip side story of them being the most evil people on planet Earth, almost Satanists.
That's why it's hard to understand, man. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know. That's why most of the time, man, I just try to avoid all mainstream news. But it's like you can't avoid it all because, unfortunately, independent news is fucking just as whack, dude. I mean, if not more whack, It's hard. It's hard to determine what is real and what's not. But specifically to get back to this point of us, letting off nukes and all this shit like that, I mean, could anything be more immoral? I mean, when you talk about your government's evil, no, fucking literally. I mean, literally bringing people in a room and going, "Hey, it's a government experiment. And take this medication. It'll be good for you. It'll be fine. We're supposed to see what the effects are going to be."
Right.
And you knowingly, fucking blast a dude with fucking radiation poisoning.
Well, what's interesting about that is he said knowingly at the time under those standards, but he did specify. Which, again, it makes a huge point, too, that not even by today's standards, but even by the standards of practice back then. Right. The funny part is we're constantly doing fucked up things that 20 years down the line we figured out, oh, my God, that was horrible. I guess that we were doing that. We should try.
And the thing is, there's no way at that moment they didn't know it was horrible either. So it starts to beg into question those conspiracy theories of, evil fucking hidden governments and shit, because this shit's pure evil. It's pure evil. You know, and it's like, why do this? Yeah. Anyways, it was just something that was on my mind all day today too. I'm like, this is just heavy. This is heavy. You know. I mean,
yeah, I wonder if it's just one of those cases where you got to touch the stove to see if it's hot, or if there's just a bigger plan. I mean,
it's the natural nature of the uber powerful to gain more power. It's the same why, you know, why does a billionaire wake up every day and check his stocks and do everything to gain more fucking money? It's like, dude, you're a fucking billionaire. You don't got to ever again look at anything you have however you want. You know what I mean? It's that, I think it's that natural, you know, it's the failure of mankind. It's ego. It's the same thing that like makes us great, you know, makes us achieve when we shouldn't be able to, that blind ego. But that fucking power trip, dude, that God complex that mankind possesses. You know, what's the point of having a big nuclear bomb if you can't blow up some shit?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know, in the larger scope of things, you know, there's this whole concept that there could potentially be this collaboration between alien species and that maybe they have alternate interests. Think about it this way. Like, so hunters in the Midwest, they've created duck calls and stuff. We look at the like ducks as a lesser being than us, so it's easy to manipulate them. You know, we've created duck calls, we've done these things, but now imagine you're outside of the human culture. Look at what centralizes human beings and stuff. You know, events like 9/11, hugely powerful. If you want to, you know, get everybody in one goal in one direction, it's events like that bring everybody's attention together. Otherwise, we're fairly independent. People are spouting, you know, these opinions over here, and you'll have your opinion, and some political group will have their opinions. But we all generally, it takes some worldwide event that we all centralize and focus on to direct all of our attention, you know, that way.
Yeah, well, it's just, it was something that just pissed me off all day long. I was just like, man, this is crazy. Because what are we being subjected to right now? You know what I mean?
Fluoride in the water.
I just brought this up the other day.
Flint, Michigan, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I brought this up the other day that it's gotten so crazy with Trump that you start wondering, are they conducting almost another type of experiment? What will human culture do under an authoritarian type rule where we don't need to stand up for this, you know, and societies, and you're seeing the way people are interacting and responding back to these, they just seem so insane that you're thinking, is this really?
I know, but my only response to that is, Justin, you don't see it, but you seem just as insane on your side of thinking. I know two people now that supported Trump, and once I sat down with them, totally saw where they're coming from, even though I agree with you about Trump. That dude's oil and water with me. I don't get any of it. I think he's selfish, blah, blah, blah. But like when I sit down and see their side of it, I mean, yeah, it's a longer conversation, I guess, that I don't even want to have. But bottom line is they hate the system now and they want it blown to bits. Period.
Right. That's everyone's justification for Trump.
Yeah,
the thing is, I understand that.
Look at his policies,
I really
man.
do. I mean, okay, I have plenty of friends. Todd McGreevy, hugely in that camp, I would say, that there's an infrastructure and a system, whether you consider it to be shadow governments, you know, a rule of corporations that are basically using pharmaceuticals and whatnot. And yes, I get the thought to want to bust that up, but when you have someone who's acting like a child, at some point
But it's not just that. It's not that they just want to bust that up. We say Trump is acting like a child, and I personally would agree, but I also understand the disdain when they say, you know what, I'd rather see a guy be real than see just a fucking Muppet that lies and tells me everything I want to hear and appears to be this, and they're just fucking lying.
Right.
I don't know anything out of them. To a lot of people, that fucking, what seems craziness is realness, and a lot of people are like, breath of fucking fresh air. I would rather have that.
Yeah, and I get
what
that.
I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, I don't think it's, as time goes on, I'm understanding it more and more and more. It hasn't changed 1 ounce about how I feel, but I have a stronger understanding of what it is. And there are some sides of it that I do see, and that's one of them. Here's the thing. Everything I just showed you about, this bombs, this is all under the secrecy, man. All their cloak and knife right in front of your face. This shit's going on. Trump has a hard time lying. You know what I mean? Like, he lies with bullshit. I mean, like, how he feels, who he is, his natural reactions to things. You know if he's really pissed. Like I said, the crazy thing to me is that he's actually trying to carry out everything that he ran on. You know what I mean? So it's,
But look at his policies and stuff. Like, I get where people are coming from with that. And I supported Trump more before he got elected, but after he's been in office, like, look what he's doing. He's rolling back all these environmental policies, and he's pissing off. I just watched the video just today.
He promised he would the entire time.
Right, but
he said it the whole time. You know what I mean?
Just today, I watched the video where he refused to shake Merkel's hand. Like, come on, what? Germany's part of the G8. You don't just fuck relations up like that,
Yeah, listen,
so I get this guy's against the system, this and that, but he's really fucking us with his policy and the way he's presenting himself.
Thing is, we ultimately don't know. We're only how many days into it, and the argument is, give it time and we'll see, and that we will. And I mean, my prediction is probably the same as everybody else at this table, but I'm just saying. I do not view Trump supporters as crazy fucking people. I don't. I totally see where they're coming from. I just think it's you gotta weigh pros and cons. And I'm just not, man, highly emotional decision making when lives are at stake, I think is a bad thing. And I think that's where the government's been set up to avoid emotional decision making.
Right.
That's the problem with having a king, right? If you could guarantee that you had a rational, sound-minded king, it would work. It never happens that way. Right. You know what I mean? And emotion is what kills people. Making emotional decisions, rash decisions right away. And there's a lot of that going on right now, and it's fucking detrimental, I believe, but we'll see. Anyways,
I guess at some point, the last point I would make on that is just, I guess my biggest frustration is if we don't respect and focus on intelligence. It's kind of like when we made the independent film Parnassus way back, right? There are times where Frankie... Love you, Frankie, would get really emotional and make just bad decisions off emotion.
Frankie was the director of this film, yeah.
And there would be times where we would sit down and talk about it, and you would throw out this and this, and we would have an intelligent conversation as to why it's better to go this route, and that's the strategy, right? I respect that. What I don't want to start respecting is anarchy and misdirection and emotional, puffing out your chest.
I know, but you know what? Those against you and I who both say that would go, oh, you'd rather know nothing of what's going on, be lied to your face, have no clue, and put you to bed so you feel good. Tap you on the head, tell you everything's good. Because that's what's been going on, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's
in a lot of corners, sure, yeah.
In all facets, that's been going on. Just like when I pulled this footage out today, you think that just going on then? And now today, none of this shit's going on. No experiments are going on now. No lives are being put at stake when we have a population problem. You know what I mean? It's just like in 60 years, they'll be playing what the fuck went down today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So man, I'm telling you, I see the Trump argument more and more as time goes on. And more I see shit like this. Because, it's like anarchy scares me. Emotional decision scares me. But it also fucking scares me, like I said, to have someone put me to bed, tell me it's all good, appear to be, what a statesman.
Right.
As shit is going haywire. I just think what we're facing is the fucking ire of a nation that has sat back and just said, you cocksucking liars. You have fucked my life, and I'm okay with fucking yours.
Yeah.
And we'll see, man. I tell you this. I pray for the best because we will all suffer the resolve. You know what I mean? So I pray for the best. I saw today that Congress is now opening up a full-blown investigation, or
the wiretapping.
The Russian election. The Russians moving on our election. See, guys, I'm so not a politician. I forget what it was called, but it was the Senate Committee on Intelligence voted today to after, given all the evidence, to in fact now full bore go to a full-on fucking investigation of that. They're saying, yeah, no, it happened. They were doing it, So, or they're gonna look into it, basically. To our listeners, sorry to get off on Trump. I saw someone today complimented us and then gave us kind of told us to stay off the political stuff. So sorry. I promise you, the next 3 episodes we won't talk about Trump. So we got off on that one a little bit. Take us down the rabbit hole, Stevie. What do you got? Let us know what's going on. I just pulled the cap off. I'm in right now. I'm hoisting Justin down. We're in the rabbit hole. What do we got?
Right. So I'll start with Amazon Space Prime. Sounds interesting,
I already
right?
like the sound of it.
Yeah. So Amazon founder Jeff Bezos unveils plans to develop lunar spacecraft capable of making deliveries to the moon with the goal of enabling future human settlement.
The goal of enabling a settlement.
Now look at Amazon is on this space.
I'm just telling you, man. I brought up a couple episodes ago. There is something fucking whack going on, where every single fucking day there is a new story about space, this, new planet, that, travel here. Like I said, Obama signed, a congressional order that funded a project and greenlit the movement for Mars colonization by 2030. That's only 13 years from now. I mean, what the fuck? What do they know that we don't know, I just think something big is coming. I think something big is coming.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think colonization of the moon is a lot more realistic than
I know. They're talking Mars, bro. So
Yeah,
it's like, why would you sign an order by 2030 when we supposedly can't pass the Van Allen radiation belt yet? You know what I mean?
Well, outside of the atmosphere issue and the water issue, which both of those could be rectified over time, meaning you can create atmosphere, you can
sure.
create water. It would just take time, and you could do it under dome type. We've created like the Pauly Shore type dome situations. Where we can just keep it in small pods first, and then try to expand it. And gravitationally wise and temperature wise, Mars would be a potential. I think that's why
more
the focus,
ideal than
right.
the moon.
Right.
You're saying.
I just think it's really like anything else. When we figure out how to travel to the moon in a reasonable time frame, the next jump is light speed shit. You know what I mean? Like galaxies away. Like I just think it's all coming, man. I've just never seen this kind of consortium of news items over. I mean, it's daily now, dude. Commercials have it. I mean, just watch the new. We talked about the media. I talked about this the other day about the media basically prepping you, right? Mm-hmm. The new NCAA college basketball commercial. It starts, people are driving like, oh my God. And you see the ships coming and these cars are hitting them like, oh my God. And he's like, it's the grid. And you look up and it's, the college basketball grid. Yeah. And like Charles Barkley's flying it and shit and they're above, the spaceship. But again, it's steam spaceship shit. It's just like, here it is again, And the guy's going, they're here and all this stuff. And it's you're seeing it everywhere too,
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, do you think Bezos is just ahead of his time or just thinking ahead, or do you think he may have, gotten some information that because this is a pretty big jump. He's not looking for a way, to get us to the moon or this or that. He's literally looking at ways to deliver shit to the moon to humans that are going to be on there.
Sometimes I wonder if it's just as like you were stating when we did the interviewed podcast episode with Dave, and you said something to the fact of you have to keep conquering because, life can get boring otherwise, right? Give yourself, what is the next goal? What's the next hurdle to jump?
Yeah.
And, if he's conquered the U.S., he's conquering other, he's looking at, like, we're getting
Look,
into
all
drones.
the uber rich are all doing it, dude.
Right.
From SpaceX to fucking this, you know what I mean? This isn't, they're all, so when you say, did they get information? Well, yeah, they're hanging out, you know what I mean? Like, who do you hang out with, right? Your socioeconomical status, right? They're all fucking hanging out. They all got a hard on for fucking space right now. And it's just weird that it's all happening now. And I mean, look at the technology, the leaps we've been talking about lately. You know what I mean? Like, shit is about ready to go to next level shit, So yeah, I think it's coming, man. I think it's coming in our lifetime. I'm going to say, I think this disclosure is going to go down the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? I really do.
Well, it's interesting because it's like with Blood Red Sky, when we were talking about the idea that 2012 was more so a shift in consciousness of human beings.
Yeah, it was not an end. Right. It was a cycle. Right. It was a starting over. Right. There'd be a new
jump in evolution.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? The fucking planet was telling us that. All this weird shit that starts happening, and when you have a worldwide consortium of scientists that are scratching their fucking head going, I don't know. And we're coming up with stupid shit like maybe firecrackers gave the birds heart attacks. Really? My fucking 4-year-old daughter would have came up with that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, there's no way, So, good stuff. All right, what else you got, Stevie?
Yeah, so, oh man, this next one's so funny. So this company called Family Romance, they're offering what they call loners, friends for hire.
Oh,
so
fuck.
basically this, and of course, I mean, out of Japan, Japan has a lot of pretty interesting stuff that goes on. But for around 60 euros, you can hire friends. And I thought the funniest thing about this was on their website, they give like reasons for why you can hire friends. One of them was if you want to get revenge on like your ex or make your ex jealous, then you post on Snapchat you're like with another girl. Or if you want to look socially popular, you can hire like 4 friends and like
this
every
stuff
day.
is like the fucking gutter of our society, man. Hire a friend? Are we fucking that? Is it God? I mean, we used to laugh and joke how at our events we really tried to get to know a lot of our attendees, and we did. Our partners on film projects are still some of our best friends today. My assistant on tour, who takes care of my life, takes care of me, was someone I met at an event. But we used to like laugh and joke that there would be people that would show up and you didn't know them, and because they brought a ticket price, they would assume that they are now your best friend.
Right.
But just because you bought a ticket doesn't mean we're gonna start talking about my personal life. You know what I mean? This is just a terrible, like it's the dregs of society type of idea. You know what I mean?
But what's crazy, man? I guarantee
Fucking
this
work.
company, this company is going to be the next $1 billion company, whatever. They're
Well, I have. Look, dude, AVN, the Adult Video Network, a network that reviews porns, is $1 million company. So that doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean?
I think it's interesting, but I think ultimately it's kind of like the movies. You can't pay for somebody to love you, right? It's like you can't pay for somebody to be your friend. I mean, you can pay for somebody to fake it.
You can pay for somebody to love you a long time.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah.
No, authentically, no. Look, you would think ultimately they would lead them down a road of mass fucking depression, because it's like, it's midnight. No longer your friend, buddy. Heading home. You know what I mean?
Right.
What, you want to sit? No, I'm off the clock. Peace, motherfucker.
Right. There's that scene in Breaking Bad towards the end where he's like cancer and he's dying in the middle of nowhere because he's got to stay underground pretty much, not literally, but out of the purview.
Yeah.
And he's sitting out in that cabin in the middle of nowhere, and that guy who he's paid to get him there and set him up is the only person who's going to come out once a month or something like that. So he brings him magazines, and he's like, basically says, hey, I don't know, can you stay around and play a game of chess or something? He's like, well, it costs you extra. And he's like, okay. He's like willing to pay whatever for just human interaction and somebody to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a great thing, man. Honestly, because some people, they just don't have that capability to go out and be like, hey, you want to be friends. So, maybe this will gain them confidence to go out and do something like that. I don't know. Playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Friendship's an intimate thing. It's a special thing. I think friendship's a lot more special than sex is. You know what I mean? You can choose to have sex with anybody. You can't choose to be anybody's friend.
Right.
So, I don't know. Fucking whack. Yeah, but it'll probably be very fucking successful. You're right, Because somewhere there's a guy that says, well, I don't got no friends, but I got money. So if I got money, I can have friends. All right.
Was that one of the bizarre, one of the news?
That was bizarre.
Well, it is bizarre, but there's a lot of times
totally
that things
bizarre.
could just be recent
No,
news.
that falls under bizarre.
Yeah. I try anyway to get like news to be like, if it is going to be something in the tech side, to be a little more like relevant.
Right. Technology.
I like that one. All right. Give me one more before we go to break.
All right. So this last one is, there's this, I'm going to put mysterious in quotes, mysterious video that came online from Cern that was basically a bunch of cloaked dudes doing like a human sacrifice, right? And it came out later that it was like the scientists just like playing a joke. But I thought it was really bizarre because, you have like these scientists in the most, doing some of the most important work arguably in the world, and then they hear all this stuff like, oh, CERN, it's satanic and this and that
numbers, which we just showed.
Yeah, and then they go on and play the check this video out. It's good.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Shit.
Why do you think they did this? Do you think it's to mock people, or do you think it's to make a
I think partially
joke
it's like it's their way of interacting with society in a fun way, because it's like going, guys, people keep releasing this stuff.
No. I mean, are we really questioning why they did it? I mean, yeah, because everybody says they're satanic, so they're saying no, we're not. So pretend you are in something overtly ridiculous. It's irony. It's pure fucking irony.
I'm just saying from being at Fermilab and stuff, right, the way that they do this, I mean, this is their job every day. They have all these cameras. They're writing down numbers. There's this huge mathematical display of what just occurred. I mean, it's not something normal people maybe that are aspiring in the entertainment industry, you could stick in there and would go, this is awesome. Like, let's do this, for the rest of our lives.
I don't think all those dudes are bookworm nerds. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. I think we'd probably find out that they were like our group of friends. They each have their own personalities that are unique and each could be classified as something. But what they have, obviously, is a fundamental love for space and math. And think about this. You want to know who's as equally as fucking fascinated with what they're doing? Us. We talk about it all the time. We're fascinated by it. Splitting atoms, opening up the black hole, all that
totally,
shit.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just mathematicians. They just took it to the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think irony is the reason they did that. The reason I don't like it is because it's like, dude, there's real reasons why people are afraid of this shit. There's real reasons. And you're the guys, you got your hands on the buttons and you're fucking mocking everybody. That's like putting your dick on a tray and just going, I don't give a fuck. Oh, yeah. And in a half hour after I did this, I'm literally going to try to rip a fucking hole in the space-time continuum. And we have not a clue what the fuck's going to happen when I fucking sear open this black hole above fucking Cern.
But that isn't what's going on, though. That's what people worried about.
They're colliding shit and doing what could potentially be very dangerous shit. They don't have the answers to what they're doing. If they did, they wouldn't have built the fucking thing.
Right.
You don't know what it's going to do.
Potentially, I mean,
potentially,
from
right.
what...
It's not as dangerous, obviously, as the people... Right. The far... conspiracy-minded, you know what I mean?
My point is, we can't just go about respecting everyone's ignorance. It's like, well, those people believe that we could all die if I don't know. I'm trying to think of the most ridiculous situation. It's like going, well,
asteroid.
to say, well, those people are entitled to their opinion.
No,
though,
but I think the fear of CERN, I think it's a legitimate fear. I think saying, hey, they are playing with really advanced science with massive power and energy implications to what it is. There's a real fear that something could go wrong. I mean, this is like new territory, right? It's new territory. Whenever that happens, you don't know. You know, it's kind of like you can predict if you and I get to the farthest door on the East Coast, you know, and we can see through the glass what's behind it, we can predict what's going to happen if we open the door. You know what I mean? And we'll probably be right. You know, what we see through the glass will probably be on the other side of the door. But what if we open that fucking door and we just fucking implode?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, I get the fear that people have. You're right. People take it to a stupid degree where they just think that there's evil motherfuckers that are sitting around trying to, you know what I mean? But that's like, I don't think they should be doing that, is what I'm saying, you know?
That would making fun of it, you mean?
Yeah,
No,
I wonder if they
I
got
don't
in
think
trouble
that.
for that. I wonder if the boss knew about it, if he was involved, like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like with
kinda
great,
messed up, man.
it's Spider-Man, you know, with great power comes great
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be a little more responsible, guys. People are scared, you know? I'd rather have you do a press conference and just say, hey, let's talk about why you're scared. You know?
Yeah.
Let's bring up, you know, top 10 questions that, you know, let's talk about it. Rather than do that monkey bullshit. I mean,
Yeah.
all I'm going to say is it's like the Spider-Man thing. It's like with great power comes great responsibility. You need to have a little more fucking care and concern for the fact that the public doesn't know what you know. They don't. You know, so like I said, I'd rather just see a press conference where they say, you know, let's address your fears and walk people through it rather than that bullshit. I mean, it's poor fucking satire on top of it. So, anyways, having said that, we have come to our beloved first commercial break, which is our bathroom break, which is why we always love it so much. We will be right back with current events, a movie review, and some more fan questions. After this commercial break, we'll be right back with more Paramerican Radio.
Paramerican Radio will be right back after this commercial break with even more dope-ass shit.
Quite a few years ago, we met Chad Kalick. He is the greatest paranormal documentary filmmaker there is. Unbelievable, and his life story is pretty unbelievable. And when Chad writes me and tells me, hey dude, we're coming to San Diego, and I have the definitive proof that ghosts are real, I go, what? Excuse me?
Huh?
Like, huh?
I heard just the trailer, and I just pulled my chair up behind him. And then next thing you know, Thor pulls his chair up, and it's a lengthy trailer, and we were glued. And now all I'm left with is, what is this footage that you guys are talking about? Because just from the trailer alone, like, mind blown. Mind blown. What is this footage? What is this footage? What is this footage? Blow. What?
What was that? What was that?
No! Oh my god! That was a ghost! Debbie! Oh god!
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's crazy. Dude. You know, and they're right. It's like a whoops.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Like, you don't know, like, there's no way when you see it, and then the film just gets into it, and you're like, well, you know, that is what it is. And you see, it's just amazing.
Definitely irrefutable evidence. I knew to expect it, but it was a complete shock. Something that you always think about and you hear about, but you never actually see. And to actually see it was amazing.
The first time you see it pop up, it's startling. Like, you feel it.
Very intriguing, compelling, and the world needs to see this.
I can't put it into words because it's hard to describe. It was mind-blowing, I can say that.
Oh!
Dude, that's crazy! That is scary as all crap.
I was expecting the typical TV, like, little shadow or something. My heart dropped. It was unreal. Unbelievable. I was absolutely shocked. I knew it was going to be good, but I did not expect it to be that good.
I looked for every angle I could think of that might have been some kind of fakery or, you know, CGI, and they, I think, covered every aspect that you could think of that makes it real. Sir No-Face is absolutely real.
I wasn't expecting there to be that
clearer of an apparition, but I was really blown away by what I saw, especially when they showed the slow motion and the close-up.
I want proof, and I gotta say that was pretty much proof.
I was stunned. It was better than what I had anticipated, actually. It was to have that full 3D image of something that you always knew existed but didn't have the definitive proof for.
When I actually saw the Cern face, I was like, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. My heart stopped.
I have no words. It's very shocking, and I've never seen anything like that.
I was a little scared, I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited somebody's finally caught it for real.
And I tell you what, if you haven't seen it yet, you need to get out and see it because it is absolutely amazing.
I'm a skeptic. I came here because my wife and my son are both firm believers in the paranormal. So it was great to come out here with them, and I was, trying not to poo-poo the whole thing. However, I gotta say, there's really no explanation that I can see for what I saw in the film.
It was great to see that, something that you always believed was real.
It took my breath away. I almost brought tears to my eyes. It took my breath away.
Everything that happened in it was kind of, you just couldn't keep your eyes away from it.
This was a ghost. It was not human.
There was no way to make
There's no way it could be human at all. It was very convincing.
It was convincing because it was real.
I consider myself a skeptic, and I think that they reasonably debunked everything that I thought it possibly could have been, especially the CGI aspect. I don't have an explanation for it. I believe it was something from other than this world.
Scared me shitless. I saw that and I was like, fuck. Fuck. That's the only thing that went through my mind.
Yeah, this is something you go into expecting one thing and you leave knowing a completely different reality.
After seeing the footage, I definitely believe ghosts are real now, for sure.
The best evidence I've ever seen when it came to ghost hunting. I've never seen anything like it.
I've seen a lot of Chad Kalich's work, and that's exactly what I was waiting for, is to see that on film.
The bottom line is, people will see when they see this movie, Craig and his team captured a ghost. Period. The debate's over.
I'm convinced. Please come back, man. Thank you
I would
so
love
much.
to come
What a
back.
pleasure, man.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Chad and the Paranormal Tour.
I've never seen anything like that in my life, so.
Realistically real, that's that.
Yeah,
it was
that's it.
Amazingly real.
It was real. It was definitely real.
I don't think I've been ever more scared than I was seeing just the body and the face. Oh my gosh, the face.
Mind blowing. I love this kind of stuff, and the way he sets it up, it's just crazy. If you're not a believer, watch this movie, you soon will be.
You want to see Cern No Face?
He has a unique way of telling stories on stage, and when you watch it in film, it's even that much more real. It's that much more intense. It's like he just lets you walk into his world.
We are back with more Paramerican Radio. Stevie, let us know what is going on in the non-weird, non-bizarre, but ever so bizarre real world with current events, buddy. Give it to us.
All right. So I'm going to start off this one with a laptop with highly sensitive information was stolen from a Secret Service agent's car on Thursday, and it has not been found. And the thing with why this laptop being stolen is making headlines is because officials have said that the laptop, which all Secret Service laptops are encrypted, so it's not like any normal person, if they steal it, would be able to have access to this information, but it contains floor plans and evacuation protocol for the Trump Tower. And it cannot be traced or removed remotely. So whoever has this laptop has, the evacuation plans of what would happen. And more than that, and this is where it kind of gets into like the Jason Bourne-esque type thing. Also what was stolen was the agent's lapel assignment pins, which gave the agent access to security details that protected Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, the Pope, and the United Nations General Assembly.
Wow, that's pronounced lapel, by the way.
Oh, lapel.
But yeah,
Okay, I
just thought I'd point that out to you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if you were saying lapel or label.
I've never heard of that before.
A lapel?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you know, the obvious question is, what the fuck is all this shit doing on a laptop? You know, I mean, honestly, it's something that can be stolen. You know, why isn't there a better process or a better something? You know, I guess it's got to be on something. You know.
Yeah.
But
the interesting part is that if the access is available through the laptop or it's on the laptop, everything's in the cloud anymore. You know what I mean? So. And I don't know if the Secret Service has their own internal secure cloud, you know what I mean? But it's, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the information isn't on the cloud; it's directly on the laptop. And
it specifies that exactly.
Right, exactly. Okay. And what I'm more curious about was this just a random break-in, or was this something bigger? Because this comes days after those two FSB agents were arrested for the hack. Did Russia, were they behind this? Did they purposely target this card? Did they know the laptop was going to be there? Because they found the backpack, but they did not find anything else that was stolen.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that other than, fuck. I mean, hopefully it wasn't as simple as opening a Word document. Hopefully you have to have all kinds of access codes and everything else to crack into it.
Right, it was encrypted.
Yeah. So, I mean, but if it's hackers, you give a hack. I mean, I think I was watching this one documentary about hackers. Oh, it was the Hacktivist documentary. And basically what they said was, you give a hacker long enough, he will crack anything. There's nothing on this planet as of today that a hacker can't get into if you give him time and opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. What do you got next?
So the EPA is awarding a $100 million grant to Michigan today to fund drinking water upgrades. So and this comes like days after we discussed how all these bigger players.
The EPA is getting a grant
for $100 million.
For $100 million.
And this is above all the cuts that are going on. They're still giving, and I don't know if you remember, but not even Obama.
What's crazy about this is this occurring under the reign of the new guy that's running the EPA that hates the EPA? That's interesting.
I don't know if he's currently the head or if he just got appointed and they're in the process of him becoming. But this passed through Congress. They're getting the money.
That's awesome.
So as far as I know, anyway, as far as it says, he can't get rid of it.
Good for you, Flint, Michigan. I'm sure we have listeners in Flint, Michigan. I know I have followers on my social media from Flint, Michigan. Hang in there, man. Jesus, help's coming in some way. I mean, when a city can't drink its own water without fucking dying, it's like that's when the government needs to get involved.
Right.
That's where government should be there for that, to step in and go, wait a minute, we're not going to let our our citizens, you're not going to die from drinking water. We're going to figure this fucking out for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that. Don't tell it's like, don't fucking invade fucking, you know what I mean? And so we got issues here. We got cities that people are dying from drinking fucking water. Like, they have a choice. They got to drink fucking water.
Yeah.
And it's God. We have so many issues like that at home, and if there was ever a centrist president, and centrist, not nationalistic, centrist meaning like if there was ever a president that ever ran, or any politician that meant it, that was like, hey, we are going to really focus on taking care of our people, and went past saying bullshit like we're going to bolster up the middle class, and the same shit they always say, right? Like, if there was ever like, well, to be honest, Bernie did a lot of things like that. Yeah, I mean, I would just love to see that, man. I think the biggest disgrace that America has, the biggest fucking disgrace that we have to the world, is the national size of our homeless population. And especially when you consider that, like, 17% of them are vets. I mean, come the fuck on, man. If you serve in the military, I am sorry. When you get out, your medical should be covered for life, period. You shouldn't be waiting in lines for shit. And at the very least, the government should provide a fucking roof, a bed, a blanket, and a hot meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and don't say we can't do it. Don't say we can't do it. We got more fucking money than, I mean, it's like, and don't give me this, we're broke and we got that shit either, because we were fucking, you know, in financial turmoil before Iraq happened, and we came up with trillions for that. You know what I mean? Just by printing money.
The odd part is, if you really look at it, think about like way back to the days of the Pilgrims and stuff. There was nobody who, you were out in the wilderness. There was no central air, anything. You literally had to chop the wood, make your own fireplace in your home you were going to build. You had to go kill the food or trade, you know, like with the Indians or other townships or whatever. I mean, there was no government that came in and just provided anything for you, right? So that developed over time, and I guess there's this fine line of what should be provided and what shouldn't. That's always been the eternal debate, you know?
What's so fucking terrible about it is, when a person becomes homeless, there's just this immediate belief that they're like there because they're like second-class citizens, and they're thrown fucking away. I mean, they're literally tossed away. There's, you know, it just shouldn't happen. Like, when I first moved to Santa Monica, you know, I got to know some of the guys that were homeless, and man, very few of them were like, you know, what you would call a loser. You know, they all had unique circumstances. You know, a lot of them had mental issues, depression issues. A lot of them got addicted to drugs. I remember some of these
drug
stories.
Addiction. You said one of the guys used to be a stock trader.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lost his and he wasn't bullshitting me, and his like the love of his life. He came home. She was banging his best friend. The next day, man. She like moved out to go. She was also pregnant with his child. I mean, he couldn't hack it. I mean, like he was just like you don't understand what I mean. He was like, that took my will. I mean, and he just kept going to work every day, and he said it just like he didn't want to talk to anybody. He just wanted to mourn, basically, right? And he said he just got to the point where he was just like, I just don't want life. Like I don't want this. I don't want any of this. I just want to be left alone. I'm gone. And he walked out his front door and fucking just kept walking. And the guy wound up, and now what he did is every day he played chess in the chess part because he enjoys chess. And the guy would panhandle enough, like, you know, get a buck here, a buck there, to buy 2 corn dogs a day that were $1.99. And that's like fucking what he did, you know. And his name was Ron. He was a pretty cool guy, you know. He had money in a bank, but he ended up giving it all to the girl for his child, which was later born. And the guy was fucking, you know, now taking care of it. And he gave all the money, but he put it into account for the daughter. And, you know, basically he was saying that he couldn't hack it. He just had to disconnect. And, you know, that's what he was doing to find solace and peace of mind at that time. Now, he was a unique situation because he could re-enter the workforce whenever he wanted to. But there were other guys I met down there. Guys that, you know, that look, everybody from Eminem to fucking judges to everybody, you know, drug addiction does not choose a sector of society. It's across the board, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, it's very hard to break opiate addiction. And it's the one thing that'll make people that don't understand it turn their back on you. And that happens in droves across the country. I mean, it just happened a month ago where now in America, more people die from opiate overdose than in car crashes. That is fucking mind-blowing. Wow. And guess what, guys? Mexico doesn't make pills. You know, Afghanistan doesn't make pills. These are all synthetic. They're made by Watson and Purdue Pharma.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is that level of narcotics hitting our streets? Because our government's in control of those pills.
Yeah.
And it tells you right fucking there, man. You know what I mean? So that's the shit we'll be reading about in 60 years. They'll be going, the president will be going, we're sorry, we were the biggest drug dealers ever.
Yeah.
We did it to supplement our, you know.
Yeah.
He really, it's like, fuck. It's
Yeah.
so fucked up. So, yeah, that's, yeah, really fucked up, man. So.
It's a pretty hard story to stomach, man. That's just like,
Yeah.
I could feel that guy's pain. That's crazy.
That
is crazy.
Dude, when he told me about it, and this guy was an orator as well. God, he spoke so fucking passionately. And he was looking at me and he was like, you ever like had the type of hurt? He was like, that time doesn't heal it. You just feel it deeper, you know? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, I think so. He's like, no, man. He was like, have you ever literally prayed for the sun to stay up because you can't handle night? He goes, you can't look out a window across a city and know she's somewhere without you, and she's okay with that. And you're dying, and he's going, and at no point, you know, that door is not going to knock. That phone's not going to ring. She's gone. And you're nothing now. You know what I mean? Like, he was just like explaining this to me, and he was like, does I think about her every day? He goes, the only thing I can do to get my mind off is play chess. Because I'm a competitive person. He's like, when I'm engaged in competition, I could, you know, I was like, fuck.
The thing is, I think time does and can heal all wounds, and I think generally
I don't think it heals all. Not all.
Well,
not all.
Well, I guess it would.
Trust me, I got some
at
family shit that'll never heal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not all. Most. Yeah.
Or the fact that whether you know it or not, you could be looking for something in those situations, you know, and it may come upon you in the weirdest moments too. It's just a realization, you know. I would say in that case, it's almost like the universe could be telling you that it's time to become more reliant on you and less reliant on some other person. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I just
I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Yeah, no, all things happen for a reason. No, absolutely. I believe in that too. So, all right, man. Well, let's get to movie. Man, this has been like a heavy fucking podcast. This one has. Well, you know, the movie review I have is very heavy too. It's actually, it's a golden oldie. It's a classic that I would be very surprised if Stevie knows of it, but he should see it. And for those of you listening, this is a movie that stars Kieran Culkin, Ryan Phillippe, and Susan Sarandon. It is called Igby Goes Down. Have you ever seen this?
No, never even heard.
You should see this. It is an incredible movie. It's a fictional film. It's a feature. And it is about... so Susan Sarandon is this very wealthy mother, and she has 2 children, and the father passed away a long time ago. And, you know, the brothers, Phillippe and Kieran Culkin, they have this disdain for their mother because basically, you know, once the father was dead, she just pretty much hired butlers to raise them, you know what I mean? Threw money at them, you know, never showed them love, never showed them anything. She was also, you know, thought she was secretly addicted to pills and shit, and she would, you know, thought she was hiding it, but they knew, you know. And basically, she develops, I haven't seen this film. I haven't seen it in a couple of years now, but I believe it's cancer. She's going to die. So, being the ultimate, like, narcissist is the wrong word, the ultimate control freak, she decides she's going to choose her own way to die. Like, she's going to commit suicide. But she doesn't have the strength to do it herself. Like, she gets too scared, right? So basically, she comes to her children and basically says, you know, you have to do it. Well, they hate her fucking guts. So they're just like, I'll fucking do it. You know, and when they first talking about doing it, you know, the brother, one he was like, you know, how does she want to do it? And they figure out she wants to eat this pudding that has poison in it. And the one brother was like, fuck that. I'm going to put a bag on her head and I'm going to fucking choke her lights out. You don't get to go out fucking easy like that. You know, and it's this really demented, sick fucking story about how these guys are going to do it. And they're upset because they want her to fucking suffer. And she wants to go out. And they're kind of looking at it like, no, listen, you don't get to be a piece of shit your whole life. Fuck everybody over. And then you just get to go calmly into that dark night. Fuck you. You know what I mean? And what you see at the end is... spoiler alert, plug your ears if you don't want to hear this.
Wait, hold on. Should I plug my ears?
Yeah, so what you see at the end is they do help her commit suicide through the pudding, and they've got all this disdain for her. And right when she goes, they discover that they have this profound love for her, and it hits them very late. And they, it's kind of like, there's a lyric I wrote along. It's one of my favorite lyrics I've ever written. It says, "I miss all the memories we never made." And I think that's what you see in this, is that they were like, you can't choose your parents. You can't. It's the one fight. It's one of the only things in life you don't have a fucking choice over. And that's what they kind of see at the very end of this film, especially the younger brother, because the younger brother also hates the older brother, by the way, because the older brother's just a cocksucker. And every time the younger brother starts to achieve, because he's learned it from his mother, he'll chop him down and just fucking, make him feel like, look, you're my bitch. Don't get it twisted. You're the younger brother. You're my bitch. Even to the point where the younger brother gets a girlfriend that he's really into, the first girlfriend that actually fucking loves him, right? But what he doesn't see is that she's kind of opportunistic. Well, Ryan Phillippe doesn't even like her. He's even attracted to her. Starts throwing money around her, starts flirting with her. And the next thing he knows, he finds out Phillippe's fucking her. You know what I mean? And he totally tells him, "I did it to crush you, just to show you who fucking owns who." That's their family. You know what I mean? And it's just this really, it's an unbelievable story, directed incredibly well, incredibly watchable. Kieran Culkin, I was surprised to not have a massive career after this, because he is so fucking good at it. And the feeling that you're kind of left with at the end is, and I think a lot of people have the story, I think a lot of people struggle with relationships with parents as they get older. And I think what this story kind of says is, the day will come when they're gone, and understand, the finality of that. At that point, you cannot make that memory. You know what I mean? There's just, you can hang on to the hatred, but when it's fucking over, it's over, man. And what did that hatred bring you?
Yeah.
What did that hatred brought you? Nothing.
It's funny. I was just reading this story today that, Iowa State's in the tournament and they won their first round.
Yeah.
One of their players, Daryl Bowie, I believe it is, had an article about his dad, how he does something for his dad, and he never knew his dad. But his dad died in a car accident right before he was born. But he thinks about that all the time. Who was this guy? You hear about the stories about it, and you think, how odd is that? If you didn't actually know, then all you're left with your imagination. And if you have no reason to hate him other than the fact that they weren't around, you know what I mean? Because they died. It's not like he had a choice in the fact he was killed in the car accident. It just kind of rings in that same wheelhouse of, it's over, and that's kind of where you came from, whether you want it or not.
Right, that's all you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a special thing. To have a parent, it's a special thing, because it's kind of like even Darth Vader, man. Right before he went, had a soft spot. You know what I mean? I always like to believe that the darkest people in the world even have that soft spot. Some don't, but yeah.
Not Kylo Ren.
Great, great movie. I think, Steve, you would love it. I mean, just cinematically, just storytelling.
What year is it?
Very P.T. Anderson. Oh, I bet it's 98.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 98, 2000. Very, very P.T. Anderson. Like if someone told me it was one of his films, he could probably almost convince me it was. It's not the same cinematic style, but same vibe. So, yeah, really good stuff. So, all right, fan questions. You only have two, which are very, very simple. And the first one was just, this is from Mindy from Chicago. Mindy from Chicago wants to know, is Brian Callen now a believer? Do you think Brian Callen is now a believer? I'm sure, I bet you he would agree. I think Brian's always kind of been a believer. I think Brian finds value in saying he's not. I think he finds the idea of it preposterous. You know what I mean? I think he finds the idea of ghosts silly. But I can tell. The reason I say I think he's probably always been a believer to some degree is when he was asking me. You remember this, Steve? When I said to him, I said, the reason things may happen around you a little bit more is because you take that stance. I don't believe. And he goes, so what? A ghost would try to communicate because it's mad at me? I go, no, not mad at you. I go, just do you want to be acknowledged? You know, I mean, like as a human being around people, if you sat in a room and everybody was ignoring you, would you like that, or would you like, you know? And I can just see in his face, like he was so into every fucking word I was saying, like he was intently listening. You know what I mean? And taking the information for what it was. Someone who doesn't believe at all, and you can't just like they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like whatever. I don't waste my time with this shit. I don't think that anything we did would have changed him either way. Like, there was nothing so profound that I would be like, that's a fucking game changer right there. You know what I mean? I think there's a degree him that secretly believes in the possibility. But I don't think we changed his mind in any capacity. But we weren't there to do that either. I mean, I truthfully, the only reason I went there is, you know, Brian's been kind to me. He's been a good guy, and he has a child. And if their place was haunted, I just wanted him to understand what it was so he could relay it to his child. That's all.
Yeah. A lot of times people are either really disbelievers or believers because of something that happened to them growing up, too, you know, that makes them very questioning of anybody who's spreading any kind of what they would consider snake, you know, snake oil
showing you whatever. Yeah. All right, Kendra from Sydney, Australia, simply wants to know all of us, each of us, what is our favorite genre of movie? Which is an interesting question. Mine's real fucking simple. It's obviously easy to figure out. I'm a documentarian because I fucking love documentaries. I will take a good documentary any fucking day over the newest Rogue One. I don't give a fuck. Like, give me a documentary. That one I just watched the other night, Lost Souls, about the other Dr. Moreau. Oh, fuck that. I was in heaven for 2 hours, dude. It was amazing, you know? So, with me, it's documentaries. Very easy. You?
I love those. But I would say it probably, just in my case, it ranks. I'm big into the big epic thinking. Like, you brought it up the other day. One example would be, what's the film when they travel? Interstellar, right? The big concept.
Big sci-fi
movies.
thinkers.
Big sci-fi movies.
Yeah. I would, you know, I want to say the same, but I think I'm going to go with, I really, really love those mystery suspense thrillers where you're like,
whodunits?
Similar to like Shutter Island type, where you're like kind of on the edge of your seat. You're thinking like, is it really what the story's portraying? Is there something hidden? Something that kind of makes you question whether or not what you're watching is the truth. But it just keeps you on the, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm really scared of like pop-ups and stuff, so I don't watch as many horror movies as I should. But thrillers, man, oh, I love it.
You know, it's not a category, but or maybe it is. Courtroom dramas, I love. Like A Few Good Men. What's the one where McConaughey, there's a girl that gets, she's a little black girl, and these white racist scumbags like kill her and rape her.
Is it Lincoln Lawyer?
Well, that's a good one too. Lincoln Lawyer. I forget. Samuel Jackson's in it.
Right. Yeah.
Just courtroom. You know what I mean? Where the guys got to figure out how to beat him. That's why I just watched this series Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton, which was literally shot in my. Oh, it's unbelievable, dude! It's shot. You know, my house in the 4 blocks that surround it. Whole thing's shot there. I mean, you would literally see every business, everything. It's like shot in my neighborhood, and it's the whole thing. That's what he is. He's this underfunded, not enough money attorney that just has to use his fucking genius to figure out how to create situations to get leverage in court.
It's like Ilya.
It's amazing.
Yeah, like that Matthew McConaughey film you were talking about, or those courtroom dramas. A lot of times they're all centralized around some kind of a social commentary, which I always like some director who had a purpose for wanting to make this film, like P.T. Anderson. Obviously, huge purpose behind this film. This wasn't just guy meets girl, funny parts of it. They fall in love, and you know there's some. No, he wanted to say something and give some direction for people who may possibly be lost in their life that may be similar,
Right.
or he had a purpose.
Yeah. Courtroom dramas, I love them. I mean, for a long time, A Few Good Men was one of my favorite films. It's hard. It's hard to pick favorite anything. But yeah, I mean, I guess the reason I say documentaries, that's just whenever I open up my cable thing and they list the different genres, the first one I check is to see what new documentaries are.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, just because I say one is my favorite does not mean I don't love it is so rare for me to watch a film that I don't like because I either like it for the story.
You'll find something you like about
right,
it. Right,
exactly.
I gotcha. Well, very cool, man. That wraps it up for this podcast episode of Paramerican Radio. Justin and Stevie, say goodbye.
Until next time.
See ya.
See you guys soon. Bye-bye.